I would request Jyoti Arora ma'am, a name to reckon with, Principal, Mount Abu Public School, a personality who has been winning prizes right, left and center and has been an inspiration for many of us, to introduce us about in the Sahodis who has actually organized this program today. Over to you, Jyoti ma'am.
Thank you very much, Rashmi ma'am, for the beautiful beginning of this beautiful program. Namaste to all, and warm greetings to Colonel Yuvraj Malik, Director, National Book Trust of India. Sahodaya implies rising and shining together, and now graduated to raising the bar together, thus to facilitate synergy of ideas among various schools leading to excellence in education. Indraprastha School Sahodaya and Delhi Sahodaya School Complex, with a number of more than 150 CBSE school principals, are a cluster of schools which voluntarily come together to share best practices and innovative strategies for school education and collaborate for regular capacity building of teachers. Since the inception, both the Sahodayas have been committed to the noble cause of education for all and have been collaborating and doing commendable work by conducting various workshops, seminars, annual conferences, and variety of activities time to time to ensure quality in education. The decision of implementing National Education Policy 2020 by the government was welcomed by both Sahodayas wholeheartedly, and sessions conducted on emphasis on competency building, competency-based learning, experiential learning, focus on 21st century skills, promoting mother tongue at foundational stage of learning, and creating space in the curriculum for critical thinking, problem solving, and discovery-based learning have really influenced the learner community and worked in the direction of strengthening the education system. By nurturing academic performances and civic responsibilities right from the early years, both the Sahodayas are doing much more than just expanding students' horizons. Both the Sahodayas have been aiming to promote welfare of children at large and keep on striving hard to create lasting solutions to improvise education and empower youth. Several innovative programs have been promoted by the Prasad School Sahodaya and Delhi School Sahodaya Complex to advance educational practices, develop access to education, and empower youth to reach their highest potential and inspire lifelong love for learning, achievements, service, and responsible citizenship. Continuing with the same spirit, both the Sahodayas conducted multiple sessions during pandemic, addressing a number of issues like education, skill development, and safety to meet the requirements of school leaders, teachers, students, and parents, and to supplement the government efforts too. They demonstrated inspirational leadership by organizing various sessions on well-being during the pandemic, not only to support the well-being and social and emotional learning needs of the students, but also focused on supporting the other stakeholders like parents and families of faculty members. Adding further to these efforts, today's session is to add momentum to 100 Days Reading campaign by Ministry of Education and to develop the culture of reading among young learners. I believe a child who reads will be an adult who thinks. So today's session is a step further to make reading enjoyable for our children and help them build lifelong association with the joy of reading. We'll have Madam Alka Kapoorji focusing more light on the importance of reading in children's life. So a very warm welcome from my side to each one of you, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Jyoti ma'am. Always a pleasure listening to you. Colonel Sahab, we welcome you to tell us what you have, what are the points that we can take away from here to make this reading habit a much more stronger policy in the school environment and help children learn better by reading better. So over to you.
Thank you. Namaskar. First of all, a very good afternoon to all the esteemed guests, Ms. Jyoti Arora ji, Alka Kapoor ji, and other eminent teachers, scholars, parents, and students, and of course, 75 young upcoming versatile authors whom we have selected on behalf of Government of India to become future leaders, thought leaders, the writers of the country, and all those who have connected to us through online medium. I welcome you all, and I convey my gratitude and thanks to the organizing team and the Association of Sahodaya Schools for this wonderful session. It's unique in many ways. I've not seen such a kind of keenness and initiative to take reading at such a serious note. This is one of the finest initiative I have seen in my career on reading. Today, I've been told to speak how to promote reading culture, book reading, habit of reading. When I was thinking everybody knows about 100-day challenge. So enough has been spoken, quite eloquently explained what it is all about. I thought I will share my experience about reading and how reading can change your life. So those are the two dimensions I thought. And thirdly, I would like to raise some questions. If you have a pen and paper, you keep it with you. I don't want an answer to it. I want that answer to be sealed and given it to you only. So whatever questions I raise, I want you to give an answer, and that answer should be given to yourself. That will give you a realistic assessment how serious we are into this business, how meticulous we are, how how smartly we are navigating our next generation to the direction we should uh, lead them to. And most importantly, चाणक्य ने एक बात कही थी 326 बीसी में जब देश में अलेक्जेंडर आए थे. उनका नाम सिकंदर महान कहा जाता था, तो महान उन्होंने बाद में हटा दिया उन्होंने. तो उन्होंने कहा था एक ही लाइन कि शिक्षक साधारण नहीं होता. ये सबसे पावरफुल स्टेटमेंट मानी जाती है एकेडमिशियंस के बीच कि शिक्षक कभी साधारण नहीं होता. तो आपने शिक्षक बनने का फैसला किया, ये अपने आप में एक असाधारण बात है. This is a very unique decision that you have opted to become a teacher because you are going to shape the destiny of the nation. एक इंजीनियर एक गाड़ी बना के चीजों को एक डोमेन तक इन्फ्लुएंस करता है. एक कारपेंटर एक फर्नीचर तक इन्फ्लुएंस करता है आपकी एस्थेटिक्स को. बट एक टीचर पूरी जनरेशन और कंट्री की डेस्टिनी को इन्फ्लुएंस करता है. So responsibility of teacher is much more than anybody else. We must respect them, give them regard for this, but at the same time, there's a sense of accountability and responsibility on teachers also, that they pay back what they are supposed to. They respond to the call of the nation, and they create a generation which leads, not a generation which surrenders, not a generation which is ill prepared, not a generation which is ill equipped or ill educated. So I'll come to these questions and I'll raise this question and just note down, and then you will get an answer what I want to say. I won't comment. It's not a judgment about teachers or all esteemed people here, but you have to really give it a very honest opinion about your questions, which I will raise today. The question is, why to read? Is it for joy? Is it for knowledge? Is it for getting good degrees? Is it getting for a good engineer or scientist, doctor, or IAS, or whatever job? Is it for that? Objective is very big. It is to make, first thing a teacher should think, a parent should think that I have to make a good citizen. Then I will think about doctor, engineer, and all kind of thing. Am I going to make a citizen? Unfortunately, last 100 years, we have failed to understand that the aim of an education is to first produce a responsible citizen. And we say Vasudev Kutumbakam. We have to produce global citizen, and that's where the new education policy speaks about that. We have to produce a new generation for the world that will lead not only India but the world, because 21वीं सदी ज्ञान की सदी है. New generation have to equip itself with knowledge. 21st century is purely about knowledge, and this is what Vivekananda also said in 1893, that 20th century belongs to R&D, it's yours, but 21st century belongs to knowledge, and that will belong to India. And that's where this new education policy has come like a blessing, like anything. Let me tell you why it is. Because it has to, first time we are having two goals. One, that we have to produce not only an international quality of human resource, that is global citizen, but we have to produce them on the foundation of Indian value system. So when we talk about Indian knowledge system and Indian value system, we have to understand कि हमें बनाना है, जो गुरुकुल बनते थे जहाँ पढ़ाई होती थी, वहां पे एक रीडिंग बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट पार्ट होता था. हमारे शास्त्र उपनिषद उनको पढ़ाए जाते थे अदर देन दी करिकुलम. Somehow over a period of time we have left these habits and we started moving into a different kind of culture where our reading is there, but it's very shallow. We have to go deep into it. Why I'm raising this question? Reading will help you to build your character. That character will help you make a man, and that man will lead to nation building. This is the basic bottom line of it. It will give you creative thinking. Reading is the only way to make yourself creative. There is no other formula or no any medical prescription that you can opt for that you will become creative. You have to read more and more to open dimensions of your neurons. Third, when you read, you start thinking, you start taking decisions. It improves your decision making abilities. Understand it. Reading is just not for pleasure, it's also to shape your personality. It never makes you feel boredom. Trust me, they're the best friends. You can call them anytime. They're always with you. There's no maintenance. They don't waste your time. And they're always available. And they're just like on back of your hand. More than that, they empower you. All friends may not empower, but book is something that will always empower you. When you start reading book, the most beautiful part is you start withdrawing yourself from the lateral distractions and bring you to the core of the issue. And then you start concentrating. So the power of concentration is directly proportional to your reading habits. So you have to understand why you should read. Now, there's a marketing term, buy one, get two free. So if you read, you get two things free of cost. If you are a good reader, you are automatically a good writer. And you're automatically a good orator. Because to be an orator, you have to have content, and that content has to come only from reading. So with reading, you'll automatically become a writer and at the same time an orator also. So the kind of personality you will come up will be tremendous. Now I come on the core issue of it. We are reading, we are getting joy, what to read, how to start. I'll ask very pertinent question. Question number one. How many of you are actually carrying a book with you right now? Just think about it. I tell you because every one of us has been waiting for last 15, 20, 25 minutes. That will speak about sense of, sincerity we have towards our habit or not. Whenever you go, whether you have time or not, even you get 5 minutes, you can finish 2 pages. You get 3 minutes, you can finish 1 page. In that 1 page, you may get 1 quotation. In that 1 quotation, you may get a 1 life-changing idea. So idea is not that you are carrying a book always. Idea is to get that moment when it will give you enlightenment. If Gautam Buddha would have waiting whole life that particular day I'll get enlightenment, he would have never got it. He always aspired that any moment it can come. Similarly, knowledge can change your mindset any moment. One book can change your life. And which is that book? You really don't know. So keep a book around you. Whenever you get some time, ensure that you are closely affiliated with that book and you can connect it very systematically. If it is around you, then you don't have an excuse that okay, what to do. Then what will you do? You'll pick up a gadget and start wasting time on that. The first question is, are you carrying a book with you round the clock or not? Because that is what you need to do this habit. Next, how many have TV in your bedroom? Just think over it. It is the biggest distraction. How far you keep your mobile phone from your bed where you're sitting? I'm coming to the question because children we meet, they're losing concentration. Last 30 minutes, 45 minutes of the day you have to pull back yourself from all the distraction in the world and get back to a book, read it, and then you start getting into sleep. The quality of sleep, people say Vivekananda used to sleep 3 hours, 4 hours. Read it. Why? How did they manage 4 hours of sleep? And then are still fresh and so much of aura on their face. The reason is they never spoiled their last 2 hours. They were able to get in the quality of sleep for 3 to 4 hours, which they got was directly proportional to their energy level and efficiency. Please understand it. You try this experiment that you disconnect phone for 2 days or any gadget from 3-4 days and read for last 30-40 minutes and then go to sleep. The quality of sleep, you will feel there's a change. I'm telling you because it's a very addictive process. It generates hormones. The kind of hormones you'll generate after reading will put you more into it. It's a cycle. It's an addiction. Why I'm telling you is a reason to it. Next question is, you go to market, you go to shopping mall. When was the last time you took your child to a bookshop and told, just roam around this book for just for nothing? हम मॉल में जाते हैं, हम शॉपिंग भी करते हैं, 5-10 हजार रुपए का जूता भी खरीदते हैं, but when we don't ensure that we get 100 rupees book, at least when we go down, हमारी आइसक्रीम मॉल में 200 रुपीज की आने लगी है. That is the whole idea. Ensure whenever you go to a mall, whether you have to buy or not, take your child to the bookstore and just make him visit so that he knows what is going in the world. दुनिया में क्या हो रहा है, he has to see. And there's no other way that books are the only hope where we can see what is happening in the world. One day, 2 day he will go, 3 day he will go, 4th day he will go and buy a book. 5th day he will pick it up, 6th day he will read, and someday he will start getting into this habit. Next question is, when was the last time you took your child to a library and told him that this is the place you should come? I'm saying you because Einstein is supposed to be the most cerebral person ever thought of. He used to say, if my generation doesn't know any address in the world, I'm okay with it. But if they don't know the address of the district library or the city library, then there's something wrong with the generation. Only address they should know in the country is the nearest library they have. That is the whole idea. Now, next question, which is, when was the last time as a teacher you entered in your class with a book other than the syllabus book? And you start your class, okay, when I was coming in the car, I was reading this book and I read it and this is the page, I loved it. If you have this book, you may read it. If somebody wants, you can take my book and give end of the class. Idea is that you have to lead by example. You have to motivate with action, not with words. That era has gone when you tell you do it and people do it. When you yourself come that my teacher is reading, I'm telling you why. मेरा बेटा भी जब मैं उसको बताता हूँ कि ये ठीक नहीं है, उसने गलत सुना है, he says मेरी मैम ने बताया. The kind of faith, you should not break it. Your child has blind faith which even he doesn't have in his parents. मेरी मैम ने बताया कि यही सही है. This is the only way. This is the right way. So the kind of faith you have on your child, you must utilize it to give it a very very calibrated direction with a goal, with an objective. So my question is, when was the last time you entered your class other than a book, which is textbook, and shared it with the student? When was the last time as a father or a mother or a sister or a brother or a teacher, you appreciated that child? Good, I'm happy that you are reading in a lunch break a book with different from the syllabus. Don't discourage it. Give appreciation for that. That will motivate her. That's what happened with me also in my life. I thought it's a good thing. So when you say, syllabus to padhta nahi hai, ye padh raha hai, half of the job is done, that you have killed him. You say it's very good, you should read it in free time. Equal focus should be on your curriculum also. So give a very positive remark rather than a negative remark. We have to encourage our generation. Next question is, when was the last time you started your class when you entered that you have read the newspaper and you are telling about repo rate, reverse repo rate, banking rate, this and that in class? I have personally seen into classes because I attend classes, schools, and then seen how teachers are teaching. And you are teaching and telling and repo rate, everything, every kind of theory you are telling, but you're not telling today's newspaper what has happened, that RBI has changed the rate. Idea is, I tell you why. When you tell that this is the part of the newspaper, that means it's directly going to impact your life. When something is going to impact your life, it will motivate the child to understand the sensitivity of that curriculum also, so that he goes deep into it. He will understand that this thing is going to become part of my decision making in life. So not only the text, I have to understand the impact of it. And that's how the habit of reading a newspaper develops. And it gives you 360 dimensions about your thinking. I have many questions to raise, but I'll raise systematically during course of my discussion. My question is, people ask me, come sir, let's take to my library. I say more than happy. I go to all libraries in the schools. I go, such a beautiful library, well stacked books, clean, neat and tidy, all tables well laid out. But I tell you, this is the worst place I have seen. They said, why? That means nobody comes here, number one. I go to the last page of the book, it has not been issued. Everything is locked. So when you have locked the knowledge, then this is not a place to come. It's the most criminal place. It's as good as a jail. If you have a book and you don't read, you are as good as an illiterate. If you have read the book and that is not a reflection of your personality, if the content you have, knowledge you have does not come as a reflection in your personality, that means you are as good as an illiterate. You just read few letters and then you've gone through the book, but that has not shaped your personality. So these kind of libraries I hate, जो लॉक लगा हुआ है, ताला बंद है, किताबें देख नहीं सकते. किताबें लेने के लिए पहले आपको लाइब्रेरियन को जाना पड़ता है, जिसके पास जाने से डर लगता है. Unless and until your libraries are open, they are not going to serve the purpose. Open them. Let people. Table पे 10-20 किताबें पड़ी होनी चाहिए. कितनी किताबें हैं? Sir, we have 10,000 books. I ask, how many books are issued in a month? Sir, 10, 15. So what do I say? Who is more criminal? That librarian sitting is a more criminal, or the person who has told him to lock them the knowledge bank is a more criminal? Question is yours. So if you have libraries, open them. Let people see. I tell you why it is. वो जाएगा ब्रिटानिका उठाएगा देखेगा he'll pick नहीं अच्छी लगेगी फिर रख देगा. He'll go to 100 books like this and suddenly he'll find one book that will initiate him into reading. That is the whole idea. The best library should be open. People should have access and remove those lock and keys. Let people see. Let there be a kiosk in the library. Now, the question is, what do parents do? What do teachers do? I told very clearly, we have to lead by example. Whatever we want our children to do, we have to do it ourselves. How many books we have read as teacher, how many books we have read as parents, that we have to ask. I tell you why. I can't tell my child, beta ye book laaya hu, padho isko baith, and I start scrolling on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. It is not possible. If I am reading a book, he'll ask, what are you doing? Keep reading, keep reading. I told you also read, it's very beautiful. Then only you can motivate. So you have to lead by example and inspire by your words. No, actions, not words. Then I told very clearly, start with mother tongue. NEP also speaks about 3 language formula. बच्चा जब रोता है छोटा होता है उसको लोरी सुनाती है माँ की लोरी से क्यों सब चुप होता है कभी किसी ने सोचा है why not parents simple because he's used to that tuning he's used to that neurons he's used to that cerebral connect and that's how we understand the lori in that mother tongue. That is the beauty of content. It is like same absorbing and digesting the content. When you initiate your young kid of 1 year or 2 years, you don't start with chocolates or you don't start with fruits or everything. You start with very liquid diet. After 1 year, 2 year, you come to semi-solid, then solid. This is about reading also. You cannot give them 500 pages research book to read. Start with 50 book page biography, 60 page, 70 page, and let them move on 100 pages. You have to give the pedigree in a very systematic manner. We are going to launch a new scheme which we can start with. That will be a very new initiative which NBT is going to take. I will explain it in detail. We used to have a best reader award. I don't know whether it is counting in school. Why can't we initiate best reader award? NBT will give award to them. If you have the best reader, give a medal to the boy or girl, one each or whatever way. Make your own competition. Who's the best reader? NBT will give the award. We'll sponsor all the awards. Because this is what आपने medal दिया उसको attendance का, best discipline का, best turnout का, most creative का, culture का, sports का, but पढ़ने के लिए initiative का है, उसके लिए incentive का है. So I request you all if you can start, NBT will give them awards. Now every birthday when we have, what we do is we buy good books, good dresses. Why don't we buy a book? How many of your parents, friends, teachers gift a book? So on your birthday, ensure that you buy a book. It costs hardly 100 rupees. Buy a gift, give it to your friend. It will change his life. And see if you have 2,000 students in your school, one child is gifting one book to the library. There are 2,000 new books being added every year. And ensure that child write down the date of birth, that birthday, and that name and everything. I'm telling you why. Yesterday when I went to National Library, I saw books of Tagore, Netaji, handwritten books, original books. It's a history. One of these guy will become prime minister. One of this girl will become president. One of this will be chief justice of India. This book will become an historic document for him for that day. That will inspire. Because this is not for today. This is for the next generation. नालंदा तक्षशिला सालों तक जलती रही, बोला जाता है. हम विश्व गुरु थे, क्यों थे? कभी सोचा क्या था विश्व गुरु होने का? सिंपल, ओनली 3 रीजंस. हमारे यहाँ टीचर्स को हाईएस्ट स्टेटस दिया जाता था, इसलिए हम विश्व गुरु थे. हमारे यहाँ नॉलेज को पूजा जाता था, ज्ञान की पूजा होती थी, इसलिए हम विश्व गुरु थे. और हम ज्ञान को प्रिजर्व करने के लिए जाने गए. आज भी 5000 साल पुराने वेद हमारे पास हैं. ये किसी को नहीं पता किसने लिखा, कब लिखा, वो कागज कहाँ था, लेकिन वो परंपरा थी ज्ञान को, नॉलेज को प्रिजर्व करने की. These were the things that made us Vishwa Guru Bharat. That again we have to make. So what we can do, we can preserve this knowledge. We can create this knowledge for our next generation. You and me will not be there for 30, 40 years down the line. But these libraries, these books, and this legacy will prevail, and that's how the next generation will know us, who we were. So create a legacy that makes the nation, not that kill the nation. Next, I have an important point. You tell a child, you read this book, force him to read. There's no point. He will read that half-heartedly. Because when you do something half-heartedly, it causes exertion. If you do willingly, it creates joy. If you give him a fish, you just feed him for a day. Teach him how to fish, and you feed him for life. Same is the reading. You teach him how to read, where to start, how to use reading. Or people read everything. All kind of books are good, fiction, non-fiction, whatever you want. Personally, if you have to ask, I will read biography. I give a reason to it. 5 benefits. First, this is a lifetime summary of a person who achieved something remarkable, and you can read his life within 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours. He took 60 years to do all those experiments. We don't have that much time to do all the mistakes ourselves and learn from mistakes. So learn from other mistakes. Third thing, this is just not a reflection of somebody. This is something that you can quote as part of knowledge. Can you quote a fiction? उस fiction के उस page पे Sidney Sheldon ने ये किया और उसने ये लिखा और उसने ये लिखा? No, you cannot give them references. But from a biography, you can give a reference. From a historic book, you can give a reference. From a research book, you can give a reference. So if your knowledge give you a sense of empowerment, let me tell you, you will start reading and understanding more and more. It motivates you more because you are acknowledged. Basic human need is satisfied that you are being acknowledged in the society for your power, for your strength of knowledge. And it comes with reading and reading. Now I have one more question. You watch a Netflix series, you do Facebook, WhatsApp, Insta, anything for 1 hour. And after 1 hour, when you put the phone down, don't you feel some kind of guilt? I'm sure you must be feeling. But do you get the same kind of feeling when you finish a book? Never. Book will never give you guilt of wasting your time. But all digital gadgets will give you. That means the quality of engagement which you had with reading and book than that gadget and that entertainment is 10 times more. So opt for a better deal. Choice is yours. Next question which I was thinking is, we tell who is your role model? All kind of role models are given. आजकल तो Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, these are the role models which generation tells us. And ask, okay, tell me about 2 minutes about Elon Musk. Silence. टेस्ला का पता है, SpaceX का पता है, iPhone का पता है, बस उनके गैजेट्स का मालूम है. उनके ऊपर 2 मिनट बोलने के लिए अगर हम बोलें, our generation find it very, very handicapped. Why? Because they are driven by superficial charm of that shine of, success. Now I want all of you who are listening to me to go to Google today on YouTube and do 5 things. Steve Jobs on reading, Bill Gates on reading, Elon Musk on reading, Warren Buffett on reading, Obama on reading, Mukesh Ambani on reading. You name a person. You pick up 100 people, 10 people, 15 people. Let me tell you one trait that you call habits of highly effective people, the success formula, all kind of success formula being sold on YouTube. But the one success formula is common. They read a lot. All of them. So why not we? We want to become like them, but why don't we act like them? Who is stopping us? Ourselves. Because we want to go by easy method. Instant knowledge. Wikipedia का Google मारा, first page का first paragraph पढ़ के knowledge complete हो जाता है. So if you have that much of shallow knowledge, you can give only that much shallow argument. Go to the base of the Wikipedia page, the references, read that. That is knowledge. It is said that what kind of books you read and the kind of people you are surrounded with, you will become like that. So you have to surround yourself with the kind of books you want to read, and that will shape your personality. If you discuss ideas, let me tell you, I call it a gigo theory. Garbage in, garbage out. You cannot down. Garbage in, garbage out. If you discuss ideas, you'll produce ideas. If you discuss criticism, another thing, you'll produce criticism. If you discuss people, you'll discuss about other people. But if you discuss about vision, you'll produce vision. If you discuss about strategy, you'll create strategy. And if you discuss about values, you will develop values. If you discuss about nationalism, you create nationalism. It's simple. जो इनपुट होगा वही आउटपुट होगा. It's directly proportional. By putting a water, you cannot expect that the Mercedes will start driving. No, you have to put fuel only. Same is with knowledge. You get best of the food, burger, pizza, whatever you eat. It's for your body. You need it. Whatever, just fulfill that need. But what about your mental diet? Physical diet is being taken care by parents like anything. सुबह मम्मी बादाम भी देती है स्कूल जाने से पहले, चॉकलेट भी देती है, फ्रूट भी देती है, वाटर बोतल भी, सब कुछ देती है. फिजिकल डाइट पूरा प्लॉट होता है बैग में बच्चे के. Where is the mental diet? When was the last time you gave a graphic book to a young child of 2 year, 5 year, 3 year, whatever? Go and read this book and tell, ma'am, I read this book last night. When the child comes and tell, good, I'm happy, beta, that you got this book and shared with the class. This is what I really wanted to discuss with you. Now, another question which I wanted to discuss with you is few stories I wanted. I hope I'm not running late with my time schedule, ma'am. Should I go ahead or stop and get back to you? I know I didn't get. I hope I'm
Please
not.
go ahead, Director sir.
Okay.
Please
Okay.
go ahead.
Sure. Now we talk about great heroes. Now I want to ask another question. What made Bhagat Singh great? 23 years, he was great. Last week, I was going through his original ink signed jail diary in my office. I had access to it, so I read it around 30th or 40th page. You'll be surprised to know that he has written a paragraph on National Education Policy 1930, which we are talking now. If you want to see, I have that copy of book with me, original ink signed copy. I tell you why I'm talking about it. Bhagat Singh जैसे बहुत क्रांतिकारी हुए, शहीद हुए, देशभक्तों ने योगदान दिया. Every sacrifice is supreme. But what makes Bhagat Singh special is one thing. When he was being hanged one night prior to the scheduled date of hanging, he was reading a book and he was told कि चलिए आपका time हो गया. You know what did he say? आपकी कोई आखिरी इच्छा है? हाँ. I want to finish this book which I am reading. You can see in the records, it's in records. He took some time to finish the book he was reading just before dying. That's what made Bhagat Singh special. Whenever somebody went to meet, लोग घर से अच्छी फैमिली से थे, सरदार अजीत सिंह, भगत सिंह, किशन सिंह, सब बड़ी रॉयल फैमिली से थे, फ्रूट खाना सब आता था. He told, if you really want to send me something, send me a set of books. That's what he used to do in the jail. Mandela, what he did whole life in jail, he read books only. When he came out, he was ready to take the challenge of leading the country. Had he wasted his time in sleeping, what kind of leader he would have become? Every man who has been put into difficult circumstances, he took a safety valve in terms of reading and books. My suggestion is, don't underestimate the power of books. They will change your life. Now, another important question which I would like to raise today is, let's think about Savarkar, Kalapani. He wrote more than 40 books. All thousands and thousands of poems he wrote on the wall, read it, remembered it. When he came out, and he just documented them. They are the great freedom fighters, but at that same time, they understand the power of reading. Even Nehru, he used to read a lot in the jail. Gandhi, he used to read a lot. You name a person, when they were in jail, they used to read. No other way. They could have been sleeping, wasting time and cursing this British system, but they prefer to write. They prefer to read. So when you read, then only you can write better. So the idea is valor and wisdom, they go hand in hand. You cannot say that you are courageous because you are. Physical courage has no meaning. It's all about moral courage. Another story I want to share with young mind who are here about a sportsman. It was a marathon race. After I always quote it. After 42 kilometers, 200 meters short of it, the man who was running was a African athlete from Kenya or some other country, and he fall down and he was having blindness. 40 किलोमीटर दौड़ने के बाद blindness हो जाता है. And he started, instead of finishing to the point, that ribbon, he started deviating to the left, and 50 meters to the left is starting. And last 50 meters, he lost the sense of direction and started going on to the another side of the track. Then Scandinavian country, I think Finland, athlete came from behind. It's a real story. He came from behind. He saw what is this happening. He was number 2. He came, he picked him up, took him along, make him finish the point and cross the podium. And then when he was number 2, then the entire galaxy of the world was asking in Olympic, what have you done? He said, what I have done? He said, entire media was asking, you could have been a world champion. You know what this athlete said? I'm still a world champion. But you could have got a gold medal and you could have been recorded in the history. He said 3 important questions. Please note down. I would have, but what would my mother would have thought of me? Number 2, what my country would have thought of me? And third question, what would I have thought of me? This is the story that was taught to him in school days when he was upbringing a young athlete. So one story changed the entire opinion about a nation. One story. Now you read about all kind of imandari, acha bacha, honesty, best all kind of policies, value. You can tell all values in books and give them 10,000 books, but that doesn't mean your child will absorb it. He will absorb it when he has in the form of a story. There's a very famous book, I can say, it's compilation. People know about a lot of stories on moral, Mahabharata, Panchatantra, everything. But there's a book which you must know and search out is Stories of Jijabai. Not Story of Jijabai. I'm saying Stories of Jijabai. वो कहानियां जो जीजाबाई शिवाजी को सुनाती थी. जीजाबाई की कहानी में कोई वैल्यू नहीं है. वो एक मदर थी, उन्होंने नेशनल बिल्डिंग का काम किया, एक योद्धा पैदा किया, अपनी ड्यूटी पूरी की. बट उससे बड़ा काम उन्होंने वो किया, उस योद्धा को वो वैल्यू सिस्टम दिया जिसने एक नई डायनेस्टी को रखा, कंट्री की हिस्ट्री को चेंज किया. दैट इज पावर ऑफ नॉलेज. कहां से आया था वो नॉलेज? उनको भी ट्रांसफर किया था. एंड दैट इज द पावर ऑफ नॉलेज थ्रू स्टोरी टेलिंग. So when you go to your class, instead of telling somebody read, if the child liked the story, you tell them, I read this story in this book. If you want more such stories, pick up this book. You have to show it physically. Then only people will pick it up. Now, what ahead? What is the road ahead? What do we do? How do we proceed? I had the opportunity to serve with Dr. Kalam. I had the opportunity to serve with Dr. Pranab Mukherjee. Trust me, I was ADC to governor, and when dinner was over at 9:30, I came and met him in the room and asked, sir, anything needed in a protocol? Trust me, after 9:30, 2 degree, 3 degree temperature in Srinagar, he was reading a book. I asked, sir, how long you continue? So I enjoy reading. Next morning when I came to receive him, trust me, that was a leaf hota hai na, book leaf. It was in the last 10-15 pages. That means he was covering 100-115 pages per night. That's what made them. जो आपसे ऊपर बैठा है उसको कुछ अलग करता है. वो अलग क्या है? वो नॉलेज है. और नॉलेज कहां से आई? पढ़ने से. सोशल मीडिया को आप कोट नहीं कर सकते. I read on the WhatsApp university so and so thing. Anyway, take it as a gospel truth. I'm not a graduate of WhatsApp university. Understand, something that you cannot quote, that is not giving you the upliftment, is not something very productive. I'm not against social media. Put it into laptop, put it into desktop. You should make an effort to go and access it. It should not be trickling every 5 minutes in your palm. Now, next question which I would like to raise. I'm raising questions because I want you to think on these lines. I cannot preach. You are all elder to me. You have more experience in education and pedagogy. You have more experience about education. You have more experience about human values. You have more experience about how the psychometry of a young mind works. But I want to raise questions. And I don't want an answer. Answer is only for you. So now, if we have to read, we have to evolve. If we have to evolve, we have to, lead. And what Prime Minister has been saying it, we started a scheme of Yuva. He says, let's our young mind tell them to write. We started a scheme, young upcoming versatile author, 5,000 words about unsung history of our freedom movement, freedom fighters. You write. We have 75 young minds whom we are paying 50,000 rupees per month scholarship, 10% of royalty for lifetime, and we publish their book. Who are these young minds? Ask any one of these 75 young children. They are as good as 14 years, 15 years, 16 years. Ask them common thing. They read, read, and read. Now they are finishing their book. Ask them how much they need to read. They are available there. They are pan India. So there is no other way that you can avoid reading. Now, how we can create an ecosystem which survives? I have a suggestion which I am coming as a policy scheme also in next 2-3 days, most probably this 26 January, which will start this, and that will be like, let's make a reading club. In that reading club, first you put 75 students of your school who want to join this club. I will give mentors from my side, and those who wants to buy books through that club, I'll give them the maximum possible discount they have for government. So those who make these clubs, make a WhatsApp group, put these 75 boys, and whatever good or bad they read, 1 minute audio video, they make and put into that group. Because you cannot read 100,000 of books. Somebody else is reading, they can share that experience in that group, and we will intercirculate that content. किसी को कोटेशन अच्छा लगा, ये स्टोरी मैंने सुनाई कहीं से पढ़ी थी, ये स्टोरी आपको अच्छी लगी, इसी तरीके से किसी को कुछ भी अच्छा लगेगा, वो कंटेंट का जो इंटीग्रेशन होगा, that will motivate young minds to read more and more. That's what you can start with. Next point is, when you make like, for example, you have 3rd to 11th or 12th in your school, you have 30 students in each class, give them roll number 1 2 3 4 5 30, right? So each roll number, we can classify books, age specific books, like for 5th class these are the 30 books, for 6th class these are 30 books, for these, and we'll get them at a discounted rate. One school can join with us. We'll sponsor that school for a pilot project if they want to do. So all class from 3rd till even 1st class, you can take silent books, we can give them. 3rd to 12th, and these roll numbers to be given to all students. And suppose 7th class I pick it up, I give them 30 books. Roll number 1 book 1, roll number 2 3, and roll number 1, that book is around 50 to 100 pages. I expect 10 pages per day. So 7 days that child will finish that book. So next Monday, that book will be with a noting on the last page, will be shifted from roll number 1 to 2, 2 will give his book to 3, 3 will give to 4, and roll number 30 will give it back to 1. So in 30 to 35 weeks, you will realize that your child have gone through 35 books in a cycle floating method. There's no course involved. First set I will give you to that school. But after that, whenever there's a birthday, that child can pick up a list of those 500 selected books and pick up that book. And on that birthday, he can give that book to school. Or you can start a small 100 rupees literary club fee or something, whatever way. That is your discretion. I don't know how to guide you about that. But if I have to do, I will donate on my birthday some books to school. Even we can give books. So this cycle, if you do now, after 1 year, this set of books will stay there only. Now these 7th boys are going to 8th. So they'll pick up another set of books, 25, 30 books, which we want them to read. And like this, if you see, in a span of around 10 year or 12 year of schooling, 30 by 12, 360 books you have read. Just by developing a habit of 10 minutes per day. 10 minutes per day, 10 pages you read, and you will find yourself standing in 0.001% of the crowd. So this reading club campaign, Read India campaign, which we are going to start, you can make your clubs and start with it. And we will put exhibitions and what kind of thing. Why I'm telling all these things? We have to create an ecosystem. We have to institutionalize. ये 100 days पूरे हो जाएंगे अभी थोड़े दिन बाद. कैंपेन खत्म हो जाएगा अगर आपने इसको इंस्टीट्यूशनलाइज नहीं किया. This is why nations fail. This is why societies fail. This is why academies fail, because they do piecemeal, event to event. We are not an event company. These are ideas on which we have to create institutions, based on which we have to create leadership. So the art of nation building is a collective responsibility. It is not the teacher who is going to do it. You can only institutionalize. It is the parent, it is the friends, circle, students. और किताब पढ़ना लगता है बोझ है. अगर आप कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन की फंडामेंटल ड्यूटीज उठाएंगे, 8 नंबर पढ़ेंगे, पैरा नंबर 8 पढ़िएगा, साइंटिफिक टेम्परामेंट क्रिएट करना इज अ नेशनल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी. You cannot run away from it. And that can happen only when we read books, not the rumors. Reading propaganda and rumors, we cannot make a society which has a scientific temperament. So I have taken a lot of time. I'll summarize it now. I have a lot to say, but you have to understand, by reading curriculum books, you develop a lot of IQ. By reading books, you develop IQ, EQ, emotional quotient, spirituality quotient, technical quotient. And more than that, you become a good human being. वो आदमी की लाइफ की जर्नी है जिसको आप पढ़ रहे हो फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट. So as I'll summarize, I have questions also to take. If you really want to lead, please read. A nation, as Prime Minister says, which reads can only lead. And there's no greater joy than knowledge. There's no more powerful than reading. Read. World Book Fair is going to come. You all come. We'll provide you all support. You want a discounted policy to be institutionalized with NBT. Our books are 30 rupees, 40 rupees, 50. No book will cost 100 rupees for your child. So institutionalize with us. We'll support in your campaign.
Right, sir.
Thank you so much for tolerating all my sermons the last 40 minutes. But
Sir, it wasn't, believe me, sir, it wasn't tolerance. It was, in fact, enlightening, because you have added so much to this whole afternoon. And what is very inspiring is the fact that you have moved across not only from the kind of books to be read, but also how to implement it into the school environment. And so I was going through the chat box. I was trying to find out questions for you. The one interesting one is by Namratjeet. She asks, she or he asks, which is your favorite book? Let me begin with that. Let me move to the next questions further on. Which has been your favorite book? You seem to be very well read. So which has been your very inspiring book for you, sir?
I'm reading, I've read it many times, Gita. This is the best book I have read.
Right, sir. Right, sir. Thank you for that information. I have Vani Dhingra asking, is the Kolkata library available on a virtual tour? You just mentioned at the beginning of the session that you visited the library just yesterday, I think. Is it available on the...
It is available in virtual mode also. You can access it, but the knowledge and experience will be virtual only. If you really want a real experience, go. Anybody can go, access it, read there, study there, get a membership done. And more than that, there's an archive section, which is a rare book section. You must go and see what made Vivekanand, what made Netaji, what made Tagore, and what got him the first Nobel. If you see yourself, then only you can feel that energy, that vibes. That's my all suggestion to you.
Right. So next two questions that is very important, and I think it's been repeated on the chat very closely, is that you talked about the sponsorship and the rewards, etc. Can we have a more detailed information on that?
It's very simple. You institutionalize Best Readers Award in your school, constitute a medal for that, and name of the child in person. You can mail director@. My team will put a mail ID here, and write a mail, do and tie up, and those students whom you nominate, two or three, whatever, we'll send them annual gift from our NBT site as the best readers, and including a e-certificate, which you and me, like your school, can collaborate, and we can develop a e-certificate. And the top 10 readers, 5 readers, or reader club or organizer, whatever you want, we'll give that Government of India certificate to that child whom you select. We can't do the selection. You have to do the selection.
I'm sure that must be a lot of clarity for all the questions who have been asking this question. Another one they've been asking about is the last point that you mentioned, the reading groups. This you want us to have it at the school level, and then we get in touch with you, or is it already an existing group to which we can join?
We have so many groups which we are already running hundreds of schools. So you make a reading club of your school with your name and put NBT coordinator into it. So that he monitors, and then whatever queries you have, you can put it and he can address and assist you, guide you. And if you want to buy books from NBT, I'll provide the highest possible discount which we give to the institutions, to the government.
Right.
So that will
So
provide.
I think that must be adding a lot of clarity to people who are giving their numbers to be added to that group.
Very good afternoon to everyone. I'm Dr. Sangeeta Verma from Remal Public School. On behalf of Indraprastha Sahodaya and Delhi Sahodaya, I want to thank our wonderful orator of the day today, Colonel Malik, and organizers. And the takeaway from this session is unlock your libraries. Let the books come out and let everyone have the access to the books. This experience I have had in USA when I was visiting and taking my children, 4-year-old that time, they're 25 now. All the libraries were open. We were allowed, we were given a full big bags over there, and we could take as many books to our homes and go back. And when we finished those books, 10 books a child finished, he was given a pizza coupon for to the nearest Pizza Hut so that they can take a pizza. And they were encouraged like that. They used to put steps in the books, and every child was reading a book. Either you read it or you listen to it. The child will get definitely a pizza. So they were not able to read that time, but they were able to listen that time. And onus now lies on the moms now to encourage these readings, and children are with them. So I would like you to read a poem I read that time. Read to your children 20 minutes a day. You have the time, and so do they. Read while the laundry is in the machine. Read while the dinner cooks. Tuck a child in the crook of your arm and reach for the library books. Hide the remote. Let the computer games cool. For one day your child will be off to school. Make it fun. You have the choice. Let them hear their first tales in the sound of your voice. Read in the morning. Read over the noon. Read by the light of good night moon. Turn the pages together. Turn the pages together, sitting close as you will fit, till a small voice beside you says, "Hey, mom, don't quit. Hey, dad, don't quit." So let everyone pick up this reading, and let's begin this campaign, which is already begun, with a blast. Pick up a book every now and then. And yes, sir, I have Steve Jobs here with me.
Thank you so much, Sangeeta Verma ma'am. Beautifully compiled and completed the session.
Thank you, Jyoti ma'am, and
thank you.
Thank
you, Jyoti ma'am, for this opportunity. I'm Mrs. Rashmi Raj Biswal signing off from here. Thank you so much for the opportunity. And Colonel Saab, once again, a big honor to listen to you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It's a pleasure.
Thank you.